What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. It's been a while, but we're back. Premier League season is underway. We're gonna be previewing the Chelsea versus Manchester City game. Really big game, our opener this season. Before we get started in the video, please don't forget to hit the like, smash that subscribe button, switch on the bell notification so you can know when I post another video. Let's not waste any more time. Obviously, Manchester City, we play Chelsea tomorrow. Really important game, to be honest. A couple of key factors in the game. Obviously, Rodri will not be participating in this match. Obviously, he's coming back from an injury. Oscar Bob broke his leg during the week in training session, so he will not be available. So this puts us in a really, really interesting position, given that how terrible we are without Rodri. Literally, we basically don't win games without him, as the stats will show you. So it's going to be very interesting to see what kind of lineup Pep Guardiola goes with. But yeah, Manchester City, when you look at the two teams, when you look at Chelsea and you look at Manchester City, as a Manchester City fan, we should be going to Stamford Bridge and we should be collecting 3 points. Look, I get it, Manchester City, we don't start seasons off well. Normally, we don't get off to the best of starts. But Chelsea are dusty. Chelsea are not a good team. Having seen them in the preseason, it looks like it's chaos over there. So looking at how they are, what state Chelsea are in, I believe we should be looking to go to Stamford Bridge and collect all 3 points. And I know when you look at last season, Chelsea really did well against us last season. 4-4 at the Bridge and 1-1 at the Etihad. They probably should have won the Etihad game if you look at the game in totality with the chances they created, fluffed their lines. Even the FA Cup game, Nicholas Jackson, when you look at the chances he had, Chelsea should have probably won the game. So when you look at Chelsea's body of work from last season, they played really, really well against us. But, however, that was Poch. That was the Poch-led Chelsea team. And even when Poch was at Spurs, we kind of did struggle. Obviously, we're known for struggling against Spurs. He beat us a couple of times when he was manager of Spurs. So this is not a Poch coach team. This is a Enzo Maresca coach team. And from what I've seen in preseason, obviously preseason, you can't take too much from preseason. But Chelsea look a mess. When I look at that defense, the Sassy, what's his name? What's the other guy's name? Badiashile, Fofana. Like, I don't see how they can keep us out. You know, going forward, I think Chelsea will cause us a lot of problems with the pace that they have and the quality they have going forward. Cole Palmer, Sterling, Pedro Neto, now the guy that they brought in, I think they have players that can hurt us. But when I look at that defense and the players we have on attack to our disposal, we should be winning this game. We should be winning this game. So we're gonna talk a little bit about my predicted lineup. Obviously, you know, Pep will probably do something totally different. So my predicted lineup will be obviously Ederson in goal. And then I'm going to go right back. I'm going to go Kanji. I'm not going to go Kyle Walker because Kyle Walker has been very suspect. Last season, towards the end, this guy wasn't very good. You look at him in the Euros. I know he made the team of the Euros, but that for me personally, that was not saying much because having watched the Euros and having watched England very closely, Kyle Walker, to me personally, wasn't very good. He's defensive. He gets himself in these weird defensive positions. It's not even to say his pace is going. So you can't even say his pace is going. He's getting older. He just gets himself in these weird defensive positions. And you're like, yo, dude, like, what are you doing? So personally, I would go Akanji right back. Any given Kyle Walker just recently came back from his time off season. So I'll give Akanji a go at right back, and then I'll go Ruben Diaz with John Stones, and then I'm gonna go obviously Gvardiol left back, and then now the interesting part is gonna be who do we play in that defensive midfield position, given that Rodri's out. I'm gonna go for a double pivot. Obviously, I'm gonna go Kovacic and Bernardo Silva because Bernardo Silva has played in that DM double pivot before, and I think we need to give Kovacic as much protection as we can in that DM position, because I don't think he's a natural DM. He's more of an 8, a good 8 that can carry the ball. So I think if you're gonna, without Rodri there, you're gonna need 2 players to give you the production that Rodri gives you. You're gonna need 2 players to cover for what Rodri gives you, because he's the best DM in the world, and it's not even close. People thought Declan Rice was close, but it was never close. Rodri is the best DM in the world, and it's not even close. So you're gonna need 2 players to be able to replace his production, and so that's why I'm gonna go Bernardo Silva right next to Kovacic. Obviously, that's a bit negative when you look at it going forward, because both of them are not really gonna create much in terms of goals and assists. Whereas Rodri gave us really good numbers. When you look at his goals and assists, Rodri was decent last season. He had quite good amounts of GNA last season. But I'm gonna go those 2 players in there, Kovacic next to Bernardo Silva, and then I'm gonna go Kevin De Bruyne right in front of them, given that Phil Foden recently just arrived back from his off season, and I don't look, he might be ready to go, given young guys normally don't take that long to get back into a rhythm, but I don't see him playing. I'm gonna go KDB, given that he came on in the Community Shield last week, had a little bit of a cameo, so I think he might be fit and ready to go. So that's why I'm gonna go Kevin De Bruyne. I'm gonna go Savio right wing, obviously Haaland through the middle, and Doku on the right. And this is why I say, when you look at, if we play those 2 DMs, you're not really gonna, I don't think you'll suffer too much having Kovacic and Bernardo Silva and not getting too much going forward, because I believe with Doku, De Bruyne, Haaland, and Savio, when you look at how dangerous they are in the wing, especially Savio and Doku, the pace that they have, I think we can cause Chelsea some really, really big problems. And even Bernardo Silva is not terrible going forward. He's not cheeks going forward. Even Kovacic, he's not terrible going forward. But you're just not going to get a lot of goals, a lot of assists. But you can use them in going forward. But I just don't think you can rely upon them in terms of goals and assists. So I think when you look at, if you put Doku and Savio on the wings with Kevin De Bruyne free roaming in that 10, just around those areas with the Haaland up top, obviously we know what he can do. I think it should be enough, because Chelsea's defense, we're not going up against Arsenal. If we were going up against Arsenal, this would have been a very tricky situation, because if Rodri wasn't there. And this is why it's so frustrating looking at our transfer window, because we know what we need. We need a DM. We need someone who can come in and cover for Rodri. It was supposed to be Calvin Phillips, but he's not very good. I just don't think he's good enough to play with his back-facing play. We thought he was going to stay and play in this new weird right back, inverting into midfield, but obviously he's left now to Ipswich Town. And I think the big one is Nunes, because if the Nunes signing worked, because we paid 60 million for this guy, so if he was actually what I think we thought we were getting, you could have played him alongside Kovacic. But because it looks like Pep doesn't fancy him, it looks like he's not good enough to play for Manchester City. We in this weird position where if Rodri doesn't play, we don't really have someone we can stick there. And so that's why you have to stick 2 guys there to be able to supplement what Rodri gives you. And so having Bernardo Silva and Kovacic there, I think that's what we have to do. That's what I would do. And I think you would get enough, because you're still going to have, I think, Gavardio, bombing down the wing, or maybe even inverting into midfield. I think you'll have enough going forward. I really do think you'll have enough going forward, because Chelsea's defense is not very good. If we were going up against Arsenal, this would have been a tricky situation, because they defensively are really, really solid. So that's my predicted lineup. I think score, I'm going to go 3-1. I think we should not comfortable. I think we should comfortably beat Chelsea, even though we don't get up to the best of start. Chelsea are not a good team. I just don't believe Chelsea are a good team. And when I've watched them in the off season, I think it's going to take some time. Look, I'm not saying they can't get it right. I'm not saying Enzo Maresca is a terrible coach, but normally these things take a couple of games, and Manchester City is not the team you want to really be trying out things. We saw in the preseason. Obviously, I'm not going to take the preseason too much into consideration, given that we were not very good in the preseason as well. But I think Manchester City, when you look at where we are as a football club and where they are, we should be beating Chelsea. So I'm going to go 3-1 Manchester City. I think the game will be close because they played really well against us, but you can't really put too much stock into it because it was Poch. It was a Poch coach team. So, because I don't really know what Chelsea are under Enzo Maresca. It's going to be very interesting to see what they look like. But I believe Manchester City, we should be going to the bridge and beating this Chelsea team. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with my lineup? Do you disagree? And what is your guys' score predictions? Again, guys, thanks for tuning in. Please don't forget to hit the like button, smash that subscribe. Till I see you guys again, thank you and God bless.